Have you pondered what happens when legendary couples like Valerie Bertinelli and Eddie Van Halen divorce after 25 years? A rock superstar and a TV celebrity made the perfect coupling. But their tale was more nuanced. Valerie ultimately reveals why they broke up and how she overcame it. Keep listening for the whole story. Golden couple rises. With her face, Valerie Bertinelli made Americans feel at home. She was more than an actress in the late 1970s. Every week, everyone invited her into their living rooms. On One Day at a Time, Valerie played Barbara Cooper, a cheerful, charming, and decent girl who put people at rest. At 20, she had 2 Golden Globes. She was monitored professionally. Most young artists can only dream of her continuous success. She gained global fame. Now imagine Valerie, a steady, well-groomed, and popular TV character, meeting Eddie Van Halen. Eddie was the complete opposite. He wasn't merely a rock guitarist at 26. The star was emerging. As Van Halen co-founder and lead guitarist, Eddie changed rock music. Such a distinct guitar style had never been heard before. It's not enough that Van Halen, 1984, and Fair Warning sold millions. They also redefined musicians' abilities. Eddie blasted out loud and energetically. The wild, audacious rock spirit. Their lives were so different. Valerie arranged her days and practiced lighting sets and lines. Rock icon Eddie lived a life of parties, late-night gigs, and ease. They met in 1980, despite their differences. Valerie requested the meeting from her supervisor because she was intrigued by Eddie's intensity. Clean, good-natured TV met wild, chaotic rock. Just months after meeting, they married in April 1981. Because they were the country's sweetheart and most electrifying rock star, this combination was popular. The news frequently contrasted the clean-cut TV personality with the wild musician living on the fringe. The story of 2 different types of individuals falling in love made their marriage interesting to fans from both worlds. The early years were challenging despite the glamour. Valerie spent long hours on One Day at a Time, while Eddie had exhausting rehearsals, recording sessions, and trips. Valerie flew back and forth, shooting her parts during the day and meeting Eddie on the road at night. With their busy schedules, they had trouble making time for one another. Daily habits were not their only distinctions. For Eddie, life was about parties, music, and spontaneous movement. Valerie was more sensible. Family values and TV life shaped her. Even though they loved one another, their lives were too different to connect. They relished the good times, success, attention, and excitement, but stress was mounting slowly. Valerie's strength couldn't totally weave their various lives together. She stood firm during the storm. Fame strained their relationship. In theory, they were the perfect marriage, but life was harder. Their differences made them interesting. However, that divergence generated domestic issues. Famous things couldn't hide their growing aparts. Their professional stress, celebrity, and personal issues caused them to drift apart. The world believed they were a good fit, but they didn't. Cracks that had been growing were going to disclose difficulties that would split them apart. It wasn't only about life or fame thereafter. The situation was more personal and distressing. A hidden battle that tested their marriage, which Valerie would divulge years later. Divide increasing. Right after their wedding, Valerie and Eddie's marriage soured. These fissures deepened and darkened. Eddie battled his drug addiction in the early 1980s. Over time, sporadic use became a big issue that damaged him and their relationship. Drugs and alcohol were Eddie's constants, making them hard to break. These dangerous substances distracted Valerie and Eddie in other ways. These walls further divided them. Unexpectedly, Valerie got trapped in a storm. She was more than a famous rock star's wife. She too was striving to save her marriage. Seeing her lover becoming addicted, she supported Eddie's sobriety for years. When he was clean, they hoped things would improve. He relapsed, trapping them in a cycle of grief and failure. Val tried hard to save their marriage and the guy she loved. Eddie's addiction worsened his health. Fans weren't aware of his dire situation when he was diagnosed with oral cancer. A portion of his tongue was taken off, which is hard for any artist, never alone a singer-guitarist. Eddie continued to smoke and drink, despite his health risks. Slowly, Valerie injured herself. It was beyond her control. Valerie went beyond marriage. She cared for her hubby. Medical appointments, therapies, and mounting costs were her daily routine. Even with these responsibilities, her emotional world was falling apart. Living with a physical but not mental man helped her cope with loneliness and isolation. Finding yourself alone in your marriage is different than being married. Both Valerie and Eddie sought consolation outside their relationship. The sexual relations weren't merely for enjoyment. The signs showed they felt emotionally abandoned. Each attempted to fill the other's void, but running away just made things worse and further apart. Valerie told her husband years later that she had an affair during their worst marriage episode. Not a planned betrayal. This was because she wanted affection and care that she couldn't get at home. I could see Valerie was sad. Her eating disorder developed because she utilized food to cope with her emotions. After that, she gained weight, drawing criticism from tabloids. This made her avoid the press more. She isolated herself from people and events, suffering. This wasn't just physical changes. A lady grappled with power loss, heartache, and despair. The fact that Valerie had mental health issues shows how costly addiction and social estrangement are. The TV personality was idolized, yet they fought invisible struggles. Her journey was about surviving and dealing with a beautiful but damaged life. Even as her marriage worsened, Valerie held on to hope. Still, hope wasn't enough. Even though she was loved, she felt lonely and heartbroken. A delicate mix of agony, caring, and strength remained. They had more than fame and music. It also explored addiction's harm and quiet desperation in prominent relationships. Celebrity concealed Valerie and Eddie's developing separation. No matter how far apart, the story continued. Their divorce would be calm and private. Valerie would subsequently discuss occasions when she was brutally honest and suffering, revealing how deep the wounds were. Next, we'll discuss Valerie and Eddie's quiet breakup that surprised no one but left everyone wondering what occurred when the music stopped. The silent divorce. It was surprising when the government confirmed suspicions from 2001. Valerie Bertinelli and Eddie Van Halen, Hollywood's golden couple, quietly divorced after 26 years. The announcement was received without controversy. Fans and the media were intrigued by a modest message. No major announcements or angry interviews occurred. They left it to the public to explain their breakup. For 6 years, there was almost no sound after the initial hint of the break. Even though the breakup wasn't permanent until December 2007, there wasn't much news. Although Valerie was always the solid companion, she grew quiet. Not a word to reporters. Neither news nor conversations detailed what went wrong. She dedicated herself to Wolfgang and motherhood. She just has one task: safeguard her son from family strife. Her limited profile wasn't merely to protect her privacy. She also decided to start again without the limelight of being married to a rock star. This time, Valerie kept her efforts low to avoid the attention that had been her constant companion. No red carpets or publicity stunts. She settled into a quieter life after leaving show industry. Talking continued. The media swiftly circulated hearsay and made up stories when there were no official responses. Others felt the gaps had been there for years due to their divergent lifestyles, while others assumed it was a classic Hollywood separation caused by adultery. People gladly filled the silence. Maybe Eddie's crazy rock and roll life? Did it go deeper? Some private matter they didn't want to discuss? They kept discreet about their breakup, making things even more strange. Speculation accompanied the mystery. Fans who saw them become renowned together observed everything they did for clues. Was every public sighting a harbinger of trouble? Could peace exist? Valerie refused to comment, but the journalists wanted more. For years, the couple seemed unknown outside of their close friends and family. That silence enhanced their breakup story. Like a puzzle, their marriage felt lost in time. No one could understand. It made viewers wonder if they knew Valerie and Eddie or if their public persona was always a fabrication. Some couldn't ignore how their marriage was falling apart despite appearing ideal. The truth would eventually out. Vale decided to speak out almost 20 years later. Her talk wasn't only for attention. It was part of mending overall. There was more to her revelations in her books and interviews than her marriage to Eddie. Not divorce paperwork. A deeper issue harmed her. Even after Valerie explained why they broke up, the question remained. How could a perfect love turn sad? Valerie finally faced the truth. How? Silence broken. After her 2008 book Losing It, Valerie Bertinelli opened up about her personal life. Her silence lasted years. Her genuine marriage issues with Eddie Van Halen were revealed for the first time. Eddie's long battle with addiction to hazardous substances and alcohol ruined their relationship, as many in the media had suspected for years. Valerie finally expressed Eddie's addiction. This was more than rock star madness. A powerful force tore their marriage apart, producing agony, bewilderment, and space. Valerie was honest and unfiltered. She described the ups and downs of liking her lover and enemies. Eddie was admired for his artistic, passionate, and very human soul, yet his addictions were detested. She wrote about love, hurt, hope, and hopelessness. It demonstrated her tough balance of holding on to a man lost in his own problems. His habits harmed more than Eddie. It hit Valerie, who was married but felt alone. In the marriage, she felt alone because she couldn't connect with a distant partner. Not merely distance caused this loneliness. Also lacking were love, trust, and mental support. Valerie was honest. Since her marriage was failing, she admitted to an affair. Without feeling betrayed, she did it. But she was desperate for affection and care. The memoir portrayed a different aspect of their marriage than the golden couple many people saw. It was about agony, bravery, and survival, not a fairy tale romance. Eddie wasn't portrayed negatively by Valerie. She saw him as a flawed man going through struggles neither of them could solve. It wasn't only revealing scars. We also wanted to improve. Valerie admitted that therapy saved her life by organizing her conflicting sentiments regarding her marriage and substance usage. Sobriety and self-acceptance helped her overcome her past. Losing It went beyond memoir. It was a survival statement and a reminder to stay tough when facing reality. Enough Already, Valerie's 2022 second novel, provided further details. This book made them rethink their publicized flawless marriage. Valerie said she idolized Eddie and their connection due to a false image. She claimed a different truth. They were too young, unfit, and unprepared for fame, addiction, and loneliness when they met. Fairy tale romance became two humans striving to survive in a terrible world. Valerie's 2024 public declaration that Eddie wasn't her partner was the most surprising. This statement stunned many. That love isn't always what it seems touched home for those who knew. Before their divorce, she said they were mentally divorced for about 20 years. Eddie had changed, and she no longer loved him. This comment dispelled the last illusion and revealed the emotional reason of their extended estrangement. Valerie's honesty upset many. Many complimented her for breaking the silence and discussing addiction, adultery, and mental survival, which most people, especially celebrities, don't discuss. Some didn't appreciate that she talked about her family issues and wondered if it was fair to talk about a deceased person's background. Valerie wasn't scared. She continued to tell the truth and give hope to the afflicted. The tale changed when she told them. Valerie quit being the rock star's wife or TV star's ex-girlfriend. She championed healing and honesty. She demonstrated that happy stories often involve grief and that stating the truth is powerful. Her tour showed others that light may be found after years of darkness, inspiring others to address their own issues. After divorce, Eddie Van Halen and Valerie Bertinelli maintained a close relationship after their breakup. Wolfgang Van Halen was their son. They moved from husband and wife to a loving, caring, and respectful family for their child. Despite its changes, family was remained vital. They attended crucial events. As Wolfgang's co-parents, Valerie and Eddie always attended. This happened during Van Halen's birthday parties, performances, and memorials. They were courteous and cool in public, proving they could aid one another even if they weren't dating. Drama and news weren't involved. About family. We loved each other through the worst. Val was there for Eddie when his throat cancer worsened. She visited him often and sat at his bedside with his son in his final days. There were no flashing lights or cameras. Families saying goodbye had peace and quiet. After Eddie died in October 2020, Valerie wrote a beautiful Instagram tribute. Her remarks indicated a complex grief of love, loss, and reflection. She contemplated how meeting them and saying goodbye had affected her life. Her post affected many individuals and indicated that she had shared and experienced both happiness and sadness with them over the years. Eddie and Valerie's relationship got deeper. Lifelong tie based on family, memories, and care. The life they made together and their son kept them together after their divorce. This kind of connection is hard to fathom, especially after much grief. However, proves that family can have many forms. Love continues after marriage for them. Changes shape and discovers new methods to dwell silently below the surface. This peaceful companionship helped Valerie and Eddie through their bereavement. After Eddie died, Valerie did what? What kept her going when her life was so bound to someone else? Her journey as she starts afresh, faces new obstacles, and seeks serenity beyond the past will be shown in the following part. Valerie Bertinelli struggled after leaving Eddie Van Halen. She endured her first marriage and terrible divorce for years. To rediscover serenity and happiness again, she started a new chapter. In 2011, Valerie married business planner Tom Vitale. Her first marriage ended tragically, so she was excited to start over and develop a partnership based on growth and understanding. This second marriage was chance. Initially, everything was well. Valerie brought past expertise to this partnership: patience, communication, and self-care. They wanted this marriage to give her mental equilibrium and mutual respect, something she had never experienced. Problems arose even with this new perspective. Time revealed their differing values and lifestyles. It generated issues neither could fix. Stress and mental wounds from the past made the connection difficult to maintain. Valerie had to file for divorce in 2021 because she and her spouse had grown too apart. The divorce in 2022 was another difficult but essential turning point. This taught Valerie something crucial. Love can't fix everything. She thought love could overcome anything, so she stayed in partnerships longer than she should have. She understood rehabilitation required more than love this time. Honesty, self-awareness, and the courage to leave were essential. Val then focused on her mental and social well-being. She learned to set limits in therapy after years of misery. Therapy helped her rediscover herself as a person, not just a wife and mother. To improve her health and concentrate, she stopped consuming alcohol. More than improving was promised. Self-love and respect were also part of beginning over. Val did not discuss her issues alone. Her prominence allowed her to discuss her anxiety and panic episodes and campaign for mental health awareness. She shared a video of herself having a severe anxiety attack in November 2024 to let others know they are not alone. Her transparency inspired many with similar issues. A brief 2024 relationship with writer Mike Goodnow ended for Valerie. The couple met on social networking and saw it become a public relationship as Valerie may be opening up again. Fans wanted her to be happy, so they were excited to see them at the Daytime Emmys. By November of that year, the couple decided to split. Instead of a lack of affection, they blamed outside influences. Valerie and Mike demonstrated maturity by thanking each other for their time together after the breakup. Valerie repeated a crucial lesson. Healing begins with self-love and independence. She admitted that she learned she could never rely on others for emotional support. Instead, she took care of her pleasure and mental health because no one else could complete her. Since childhood, she had thought this way and sought love to soothe her anguish. Valerie's life displays her strength and resilience as she works through new relationships, mental health difficulties, and personal growth. Public scrutiny and private hurt plagued her for decades. But she took charge of her life. How she became strong, found peace, and embraced life's messiness without shame or fear is her narrative. Valerie Bertinelli today embraces truth and authenticity like never before. She returned to television as a lifestyle advisor and mental health champion after years as a beloved TV star. Valerie shares her emotional healing journey with courage on her platform. She went from actress to mental health advocate with this change. Thanks for viewing. Like, share, and subscribe for more real tales if Valerie's story inspired you. Be sure to click the following video. Avoid missing it.